Hello. Is consciousness the energy which psychic vampires want? I think it may be because they, well, of course, when I'm thinking, if they're taking my thoughts, they're taking my consciousness of something away. And sometimes I'm allowed to develop a thought or a stream of thoughts for quite some time, and then it's taken away shortly before the conclusion of those thoughts. What then has been taken away? An enormous amount of recollection of things. So I have suddenly become less conscious of a whole chunk of information and thoughts and ideas which had come to mind during my stream of consciousness. So in effect, I am becoming, less conscious. When I have a stream of thoughts and consciousness, I do have a feeling of greater awareness, kind of like a mini enlightenment, really, because I do have increased understanding. And when that's taken away, I do indeed feel less enlightened. I feel not necessarily exactly unhappy or anything, but I've now come to think it could be slightly less happy, because the feeling of having all those ideas in my head is enlivening. So that's energizing in a way. It is mood lifting because it does make me feel like, those aha moments when something suddenly occurs to you. You go, aha, it's a good feeling, isn't it? So if you're having a stream of consciousness if you've had a stream of consciousness that's built up a whole lot of ideas in your head, it's similar to an aha feeling, or even bigger than that, over an extended period. And it must be releasing endorphins or something, feel-good chemicals in the brain. So when suddenly those ideas are taken away, my mind does have a drop in endorphins. So I suppose it's a bit less happy. I've decided it is a little bit less happy. It's taken me a long while to realise that, because I'm generally in an equable, fairly okay mental state anyway. But I do think I'm a bit happier when I've had a stream of consciousness that has put a lot of thoughts together in my mind for me and built up probably a higher energy level with more neurons firing and pleasure chemicals going on in my brain, things like that, So I think they probably do make me less happy and less aware and less conscious and less enlightened when they do take these thoughts away. And if I actually finish them, it's almost painful to have them taken away. There is almost a feeling of something being pinched out of me when they're removed, sometimes anyway, if I'm resisting it, if I'm more conscious of what's going on. Otherwise, I do feel a slight sort of pop in my mind, as if something's been just plucked out of it. And then I do feel a sudden sort of implosion feeling, a slight caving in feeling, as if my mind is a bit smaller and has squeezed in a little bit because there's less in it, kind of thing. I do feel kind of, I don't know, a vacant feeling. Oh dear. How can I describe it? How can I describe it? What would be the best way of describing it? I don't know. Maybe dryness, like thirst. An area of mind which is lacking something. Like you lack water, lack hydration if you need rehydrating. If you need rehydration, if you need water or something. I don't know, something has gone, basically, and I can feel it. Anyway, I used to think that they were stealing these things for what they could gain from them. If it was a good idea, it would appear later as a commercialized product. Because I'm a creative person, and I think they steal ideas from me. Because I see soon after I've thought of them, ideas appearing as various products in the market. And I don't know. Yeah, I do know it's very unpleasant. It's like being robbed again and again, because that's what's happening. And so that's true. That's one reason for doing it. But another reason is to literally to keep me unconscious, so I can't do anything about it. I think they do fear people becoming conscious. We would have some powers that they fear if we were able to maintain our consciousness, our true level of consciousness. Our minds would be more able, and we'd be in a position to help ourselves. On a few occasions, I've been so provoked by people like this that I just became really angry, and I felt some energy lurch out of me. And whoever was doing these things, and they were dead silent outside, like wherever I was living, they were dead silent outside my room or whatever. Like if I had to share a house, or if I were in a hotel or something like that, you know, or anything like, you know, or even outside my front door. They might be there. They're very likely to be outside my front door right now. You know, because I often hear my neighbours just suddenly speaking outside my front door. Not, you know, not footsteps going past them speaking, but literally just, and they're talking about me. They know my name. I don't know how they know my name. It must have gone through my rubbish or something. I don't know. I've seen a letter addressed to me or something. But anyway, people will suddenly show to have been around, because they'll run screaming, literally, when this energy lurches out of me. This has happened at least 3 times in my life. And so when my mind is able to utilize a fair degree of energy, it's able to defend itself. Unfortunately, because they keep me so low energy, or because I'm not able to utilize my energy effectively enough, it dissipates very quickly. And by the time I get out to see who the hell has done what, who these people are, you know, and try and get a clue about what's going on, in a very upset state, as I say, they've avoided or curtailed whatever was going on, whatever defence I'd made against them, and they turned on me and looked very aggressively at me and start sneering, jeering at me, as if to say, there's nothing you can do, you better give up and go now. And that's what I have to do. But I think one reason they do keep us low energy is precisely because we could help ourselves if we had what for us is a higher energy, is our normal level of energy, a higher level of energy, more consciousness, a higher voltage or whatever it is, more energy basically, resulting in increased consciousness, increased awareness of things, having more things in your mind, more logic in your mind, more facts in your mind, more understanding present in the mind, which I have found to be increased consciousness. It's not just what you're able to think of, which shows how conscious you are. It's not just whether you can do maths or make music or something like that that shows you're conscious. I found consciousness to be also how much you can keep in your mind at any particular time. That seems to increase consciousness, and that seems to be the kind of thing that would help me, or one of the things that would help me. Just general awareness, increased general awareness. I think they call day-to-day memory episodic memory. There are various types of memory. There's memory for things like maths or music, academic memory, you know. one type of memory is called episodic memory. It's the memory of day-to-day events, who you've spoken to, what bus you took, what you had for breakfast, things like that. That's the general kind of consciousness I'm talking about. General awareness. Just increased general awareness, but also general logic and understanding of putting things together in your mind. Things that have happened to you, making sense of life generally. Making sense of life as well as episodic memory, but also sense made from episodic memory. I find very much the kind of consciousness that would help me. And when I manage to put things together and bring things out of my memory, I find it so helpful. I really find it so helpful. But then they just take these things again, and I'm left again at a lower energy level. My mind is still functioning. I can still bring things out of my memory, although they've taken a lot out. And I think they have been taken out more recently. Take a while to come back again. I think with many people, the damage done to their neuronal structures by having thoughts ripped out of them may destroy the memories forever, or deter them from via subconscious pain from bringing those memories back, or just make them give up trying to bring the memories back because they're always robbed. So basically, I think they hoped to destroy my memories by taking them out of me again and again. But I can gradually bring these memories back. And, although the ones that are ripped out more frequently and more recently, it took me a while to get back used to getting back again. There is pain involved, and the subconscious doesn't want to keep going through it. But I think I managed to make my subconscious understand that my conscious mind really thinks it would be better for it to help me with trying to survive all this psychic abuse. And my subconscious is more willing to make the efforts now that are required. But still, it's difficult to quickly regain memories. I think it's partly because my subconscious isn't willing to make any more effort than my conscious mind is making. And my conscious mind really should be writing down all my thoughts and rationales and linkages and logic about various things that I find significant, that I found significant in my life. The thing is, that's going to take a lot of writing down, but my subconscious is going to be unwilling to be fully helpful until my conscious mind gets on with doing things as well, because it's been making a lot of efforts, and my subconscious mind has just thought, oh, that's awful to think about, I don't want to keep doing it, So basically, my conscious mind is going to have to make a lot of effort, and then my subconscious mind, I think, will help me a bit more. It's kind of like I don't want to flog myself if I'm not going anywhere doing it. You kind of don't want to put the effort in if other parts of me are being lazy. So I'm going to have to write down an awful lot of stuff. But things go missing from my flat or room or wherever I live. They always have. I've experienced numerous burglaries in my life, with various things being taken at different times. And if I replace the locks or change the locks or anything, then they just get smashed in again. So I've learned that it's easier just to leave not to change the locks, basically. So whatever notes I make are going to be made on email. My email seems to be fairly secure. If it's not, I'll get another email address. Oh yeah, there's no point in making physical notes. They could well go. Yeah, I'll make them all online, and if they disappear, I'll get another email address. I use Yahoo. That seems to be fairly secure. Hotmail, apparently, they say, is not so secure. I find Yahoo has been fairly secure. So anyway, I'm going to have to write everything down and all the linkages. And literally start almost learning my own life and facts and reality like a book, like an academic book. That will enable me, when I read it, to immediately keep all these things in my mind at once, which will increase my consciousness quite a bit. Yeah, it will, but it's a shame to have to do that. I think it's like the old aphorism, the old adage, know thyself. The best wisdom you can have is to know yourself. Because you are a microcosm of the universe to some extent. I mean, the universe has universal laws, you know. Those 3 laws of energy, the laws of thermodynamics. Everything has to work according to those, so everything that is in existence is governed by them. So if you know yourself, you know universal truths that formed you. Yeah. So knowing yourself would be a good thing, really. It's just that they've put me through an awful lot, and now I'm going to have to be put through an awful lot more. It'll be quite a bit to do. By the time I've done it, more years, it might have taken a lot longer again. But anyway, I will try and extract the salient parts and publish them, because they might help somebody else as well. When I do, I'll make a video about it. And you can buy the book or something. I'll keep it cheap, because I will want the information spread. Probably 99p or something like that. And I'll make it an e-book. So, I don't know, hopefully you could download it to your email even or something. That might be the easiest thing to do. Anyway, yeah. So once I've done that, I should hopefully have enough to create enough consciousness in a coherent or enough way to find out how to use it in a way, in an effective way. I'm hoping there'll be a full enough picture, but there might not be a full enough picture. You know, I could have a good outline, but not necessarily enough detail. I think it'd be hard to collect enough detail in one lifetime, possibly, because they make it that hard. But I think I've got quite a lot of information that might be relevant. Yeah. The information itself is important. That's why they don't want me to remember it. And what I've made of it is important, which is why they don't want me to remember it. And the enlightened state it induces is important, which is why they don't want me to remember it. And what might be possible in that and more developed states is important, which is why they don't want me to remember it. So it's important to get that done. I'm going to have to do that. Otherwise my subconscious is just going to feel that it's too exhausting to keep making the effort when I'm not. When it just keeps being lost all the time, because I'm not even writing it down. It's just that I do like the state itself, and I don't like to have to transfer it to paper. That seems artificial. But I'm going to have to do it. And in order to help me to get it quickly brought to mind. I might make various organizations and symbolism out of it, like a mind map. Have you heard of a mind map? That's when you start with the central idea, and you make a whole lot of little sub-ideas branching away from it. Say, for example, you started out with mobile phones. You put a little circle around that and then branch out different ideas relating to it, like desirable features, cost, that would be a second one, payment plans, or pay as you go, just a lot of different things that branch off from it. And then from other payment plans, you'd have ones 18 months, 24 months, 12 months. Cheap, expensive, that's a mind map where things branch off and sometimes join up and link again. Almost neuronal, with connections everywhere, and different ideas branching into it and connecting, branching out and connecting. That's a mind map. That might be a good idea to try and do that with my own mind. And that would be possibly a quick and easy way of doing it. Yeah. Both ways are good, really. List form is good as well. That's what it's basically going to be. The best way, one of the best ways of doing it is just list form, linear form, just writing it like a book. That really helps. And then the mind map thing can really help too. Yeah. Yeah, I will do that. The thing is, after that's completed, I think there are even more mental states after that. There are lots of them, and they know about them. They've drained and sapped minds for thousands of years, and they know so much that they keep from other people. I mean, my mind functions perfectly well, and my memory functions well, and so on. But generally speaking, I have very few memories that I'm conscious of at any particular time. If I bring many forward, they're taken. And I have very few connections between any memories or thoughts in my consciousness at any one time. And that's because they're taken as well. That's all taken too. I think they may even construct other worlds with it. They certainly construct in this world, as I say, various products taken to market. But they may even construct other worlds. There may be other realities constructed or perceived via abilities and perceptions and thoughts taken from others. Thoughts are perceptions in themselves. If you can steal a thought, you steal a perception. Imagine if you stole the thoughts of someone like Einstein, for example. You would have an understanding that of another world almost, of physics. You'd see into things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to see into. I don't know. If you stole the thoughts of a psychic, you may be able to perceive other worlds that others couldn't perceive. Nor could the psychic. They may never know they were psychic, because you could have been stealing their abilities from them. Or they may never know what they were capable of with their psychic abilities, because you stole everything from them before they were able to develop it very much. These people long ago got the edge on others. I don't know whether or not they got an edge on us somehow. Either they are either they are aliens, or they may have a mutation, be human with mutations, or they may be alien hybrids, as the Bible says, fallen angel hybrids, fallen angels mated with humans. Or they may just be other races that are less able than white people, that have interbred with us and found it useful to steal white people's thoughts because we are so productive. Or our emotions, because we do have a richer emotional life. Chinese type people, for example, do produce fewer pleasure chemicals in the brain, much less. They produce much less, like a 20th or something, literally about 5% what white people produce. The enlightenment they talked about in their religions, that they speak of in their religions, is happiness. By nature. We have it by nature. Often anyway. For them it's enlightenment. They'd pay a lot of money to steal our happiness. It'd be very valuable to them. They could well be stealing our happiness. There's a lot of Chinese genes in there are a lot of Chinese genes in the white race. Genghis Khan, a Mongolian, Mongoloid type, that's the yellow people, the Chinese type, conquered a huge amount of Asia and Northern Europe only about 600 odd years ago. And his personal Y chromosome is now possessed by, I can't remember the exact figures, I think it's 20% of European men have Genghis, not just the Mongolian, but Genghis Khan's personal Y chromosome. It said he married thousands of women that he conquered, from the lands he conquered. Well, married actually is a euphemism for raped. He wouldn't have had the consent of thousands of women. Who has the consent of thousands of women? Probably not really even pop stars. I mean, I know they have a lot of groupies, but the ones that actually follow them around and sleep with them, are they really thousands? Which conqueror ever had thousands of women willing to sleep with him? None, I think. None. People don't like their conquerors. Their conquerors murder their families and kill all their people. Genghis Khan didn't really marry those women. He raped them, thousands of them. Maybe tens of thousands. I don't know. He lived to be quite old, about 70 or something, or more. And he'd been conquering since he was about 20 or 30. So that's 40 years of raping thousands of women. His personal Y chromosome is now in 20% of the male European population. There are a lot of foreign genes in the white population. They could well be those who are by nature less happy than others, and somehow can, because they're not happy, see the happiness in others more objectively. To them it would be something noteworthy, like enlightenment. To them it would be enlightenment. They would see someone happy and think, oh my God, that person's having an unusual mental state. I want that. You know? The question is how they would then get it. But they could have made a study of it for thousands of years, certainly for hundreds since Genghis Khan raped 20% of Europe. He must have raped 20% of Europe in order to get his genes into 20% of the male population. In fact, he may have raped 40% of Europe because half the children would be female and half would be male. But 20% would be males with his genes showing, and another 20% would be females without his genes showing, because not the ones that are I don't know, maybe, but not the Y chromosome. I mean, if you've got 20% of men descended from Genghis Khan, then presumably 20% of women are descended from Genghis Khan. Overall, that's 20% of the population. Yeah. 20% of the population may have a lower, less conscious, or certainly less happy mental state, and they would want, at least, they might be intelligent, I don't know, or they might have increased memory. That's a type of consciousness, as I've been discussing. But they don't have the same happiness that they seek and value. For thousands of years, they valued that mental state, happiness, as enlightenment. So they would want that mental state. So for thousands of years, they've been studying how to gain enlightenment. Some of them may have decided to get it by taking it from others. The question is how, I know. Maybe it's yet another thing that has been taken from us. Maybe we even impart it to some extent. Maybe we impart something by nature. And once they get hold of it, they just keep pulling. There's a saying, if you give someone an inch, they'll take a mile. If you give a bad person an inch, they'll take a mile. Maybe if they get an inch of this particular thing, they just grab the whole lot and pull till it's all out of you. Maybe we impart it, we who have these things that they want, just impart them, and other people who don't have them just grab and pull. That's another thing I was going to say. These people who psychically attack others are known. I've read it in books on these things, on subjects like this. every time someone does voodoo, someone thinks they're subject of voodoo, it's always, if they ever find out who's doing it, it's always someone close to them, physically close. Like literally their next door neighbour, or someone just a door or two down, one or two houses down. And I think it's because they need psychic contact gained through the aura to make it work. The aura is apparently about 13 feet wide, so it easily extends into next door. It's electrical, so it'll go through anything. It'll go through the walls. Somebody else's aura is 13 feet wide, so you could really go through the next door neighbour's house if you're living in a terraced place. Take my place, for example. My entire flat here. I've got a one-bedroom flat. Here's the downstairs. It's literally, I think it is 15 feet wide. Something like that. So, if you think my aura is 13 feet, it's definitely going into the houses of the people who live below me and either side of me. And theirs is coming into my room, into here, into my flat. So there is electricity there, isn't there? When you think about it, there is electricity there. And of course something could be done with it. It's an electrical transmission. As long as they're close enough, they could do something. They only have to be close enough. Since it's electricity, you could theoretically, electricity goes on for thousands of miles. They say that television programs broadcast decades ago are still spinning out into the outer reaches of the galaxy. Electricity transmission goes on forever. So if you were sensitive enough, you could theoretically pick up somebody's aura from around the world. Maybe that's what remote viewers are doing. Psychics from around the world. Remote viewers and psychics. Maybe that's what they're doing. It is electricity. It goes on forever. I think that's what these people are doing who psychically attack me and drain my energy. They are sensing my aura. Sensing my aura and making me focus on them. Energy flows where attention goes. They force me, even subconsciously, to focus on them. And before I know it, things have gone. Even things really interesting, very important, that could have really helped me, that you would have been interested to hear, just go. But I do remember some things, and I'm going to start making more videos and writing things down. I've learned enough useful information to